So, does Donald Trump want to turn American rates? So, I'd say yes, Trump wants to do that. Economic and political instability? Absolutely, that's Trump for sure. High mortality rates? Yes, that would also be Trump. Less industrialized or non industrialized economies? Not exactly. So, I would say that's probably not necessarily the case. But lack of access to basic human necessities like water, shelter, or food? Yes, under Trump for sure, and fewer natural resources than other nations. So not exactly, not necessarily full blown third world country, but they're certainly heading in that direction. Now I do want to acknowledge that third world country is a bit demeaning. You could also say developing country, nation, or you could say global south. So I want to be aware of that. But we're heading to many of these things. I want to go over this stuff, share my thoughts, and go over the latest news with you. So first, as you know, Trump is a felon. And this is something that you'll see a lot in developing nations or third world countries, is that people at the top, there's just a lot of corruption. We've never had this before in the history of the USA, not like this, a convicted felon in the office. Now he's bringing in Musk as well. And basically, these type of people, they like to appoint all of their friends and their family to high positions. This is not about finding qualified people. It's finding people that you owe allegiance to, be it through your mafia connections, etc. And in this situation, it's either the PayPal mafia or the Florida mafia. If you don't know, Trump's been picking a lot of Florida people, and PayPal mafia is essentially Musk's early days. He had a group of dudes, and they all formed or PayPal together. On top of that, the type of stuff that Trump has been doing lately just really feels, if you want to call it third worldy, or if you also want to call it, we'll call it World War II-y, is start attacking other countries. Now, right now, it's in a battle of words. Will it be economic and militarily? We'll see. The latest is, you can read the headlines, Trump says he will rename the Gulf of Mexico. I guess now he wants to call it the Gulf of America. Yes, they are really talking about renaming Gulf America, Mexico to the Gulf of America. Have listened to one of Trump's followers.
It's so America first, and we haven't even inaugurated the man. We get him in office officially on January 20th, and I was so fired up watching the press conference today when President Trump said that he's going to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, that I directed my leg staff to immediately draft legislation, and we are entering it right now to officially change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And Congress has to do this because we have to fund the name change in maps. We have to fund the name change through all types of, like the military, FAA, et cetera. And it's absolutely the right thing to do. We change post office names all the time up here. You better bet we are absolutely going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let's go.
So that was Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, hey guys, we are going to solve your problems by spending a bunch of money on textbooks and maps and all this kind of stuff to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. This shows you that these people do not care about you. They do not understand your problems at all. And they want to fool you with basically a bread and circus. And so this is very, in my opinion, third world country kind of stuff. A real thing that you're going to see. Now, we'll see if it ends up being the case. If Trump starts saying, hey guys, we have to make Team USA soccer the best in the whole world, and we're going to spend all this money to make sure we have the best soccer team, then then it's totally official that we're there. So we'll see. But the issue though is that all these things are a distraction, right? It's a distraction so that you talk about, oh, what are we doing with Gulf of Mexico? What are we doing with these maps, etc., opposed to talking about the many crimes that Trump and his buddies are up to. I'm sure with the whole map and whatever they're going to rename, there's going to be, one of the Trump's companies or figure out a way to like, hey, by the way, my company already has these pre-minted maps with Gulf of America, written on them. Please buy them. The same way that, Trump was selling Trump Bibles. That's a real thing. Trump was selling Trump Bibles, and I think Oklahoma was buying them. So there's that. Mexico is actually fighting back and be like, yo, if you're going to start calling it the Gulf of America, we're going to start calling America, right? Mexican America. So, battle of words there. Panama's getting in on it also, saying, Trump, if you try to come and take Panama, that will lead to chaos. So other countries are pushing back. But basically, Trump wants to roll everything back. That's the idea. He wants to roll everything back and go backwards as much as he possibly can. Basically ruining kind of friendships or allies that we have. make everyone laugh at us essentially. Moreover, you got this tariffs, right? That is freaking out the markets as of late. You're seeing this all around. You're seeing currencies being really unstable around the world. You're seeing bond markets around the world being unstable. No one's sure what this guy's up to, and everything he says is like freaking nuts. And so it's just creating a lot of instability. Now, to be fair to Trump, sometimes he says things that are true. Sometimes. So, for example, there's a chart. It is true. China has a trade surplus against USA, or you could say USA has a trade deficit. So that's completely true. But what's not true is this a major problem or not? And let me put it into really simple terms. Okay. So if you're a richer country, say in the terms of USA, or you're a country of shoppers and you live a high standard of living, you're out buying cars all the time, you're going to stores, buying clothes, you're shopping and you're enjoying the high life, you're naturally going to consume more stuff. You're going to consume more goods. Which country would you rather be? The country who makes a bunch of stuff and sells stuff to the richer country, or the richer country that's buying the stuff? Now, Trump and his followers in the megaland, they're just like, you know what? I want to be the factory country. And so that's what's being sold to people is basically, hey guys, we're going to bring back all the factory jobs. We're going to give you all factory jobs and you can all be factory workers again. And you know what? After that, we're going to make stuff in the factory and we're going to sell it to other countries that are now richer than us. So that's why I was saying that we're heading back to sort of third world country kind of thing. And I know people don't think of it that way, but I just want you to let that sink in. Think about this. High poverty rates. So with Trump in office and the policies they want to do, I think you're going to see a bigger divide between rich and poor. It's already been trending that way. It's hard to stop, and he's just making it worse. Tariffs are going to be a major problem for people in the lower economic scale, as cost of goods will go up considerably for them. Economic and political instability. That's absolutely Trump. It's chaos all day, every day. You never know what the guy is up to. I'm sure when they're out saying whatever stupid crap, they're probably trying to hide some other crime that they're doing and hide it in, from the headlines. High mortality rates. So the Trumps and the Musks, they don't want to fund public education. They don't want to fund public health care. They don't want to, change regulations to make it so that affordable housing is more easier to come by. They want to sort of scare you with all these things. They always try to scare you. It's like, guys, those universities and those schools, they're out to hurt your kids. They're teaching you all these bad things. You should be afraid of education. Be afraid of healthcare. You don't want to go to the hospital with it. That's who these people are. If you sit down and think about it, like just sit down and think about the kind of message that they say, be afraid of healthcare, be afraid of education. What does this end up being? Just think about this logically. It ends up being they want a population that's dumb, right? They want a population that's unhealthy because they don't care about you, so they don't want to invest in that. And they want you to all be a bunch of factory workers with no protections, right? So in Musk's situation, he always complains about the labor board, right? He hates unions. Trump is the same. Oh, Musk, I love you. You're so good at firing people. That's the best. We need people who are just great at firing people, right? They complain about workplace safety. So Musk's situation, he doesn't want to pay for any sort of safety equipment for his workers because who wants helmets for workers, right? Who wants like clear defined areas of your companies to where there could be hazardous materials or whatever. Who cares about that stuff? And if you want that equipment, you're going to have to buy it yourself. But we're not doing it because, this is a capitalist country and you take care of yourself. That's the kind of world that they want. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. It is certainly true that some people get rich with this kind of system. Completely true. And in fact, some people get crazy rich with the system. Absolutely true. But how many people are going to, get into that? And remember Musk and Trump, right? These guys are all about social media. They're all about sort of hype. I wouldn't be shocked, if Trump, he's going to be like, hey guys, we're going to do a combination of Hunger Games, Squid Game, and, Running Man. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And one out of you Americans, maybe 1 out of 300 million, one of you is going to, hit jackpot and you can be a billionaire just like us. And so that's the kind of dream that they sell people, right? So yes, certainly one out of 300 billion can make it, sure. But is it going to be everyone? No. Are the odds going to be good that it's going to be you? Probably not, because there's going to be corruption. Who's going to get picked to be part of that 1 out of 300 million or whatever? The thing is with the Musk and Trump, and I always have to point out all the time because a lot of people don't realize it, is that these people are born rich, okay? And they try to sell you the American dream, which is, hey, work hard, get a little bit lucky, and you can be billionaires just like them. What they don't tell you is that, again, they're born rich. In Musk's situation, he's like, hey, I'm born in a white part of South Africa during apartheid, and I'm born white, so therefore I must have worked hard. Just being born white, man, I worked really hard to get there. And as black people, I guess they just didn't work hard enough, right? And that's something that you have to understand about the American dream. And I'm not against people working hard. I want to make that really clear. I'm not against it, but part of the fallacy of thinking only in that terms is that you think, right, if you fully believe it, that if you work hard, that's why you're rich, that's why you're successful. And then if you don't work hard, that means why you're poor, right? Now, think of it this way. There are many people out there today that spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day, maybe 12 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, maybe even 7 days a week, that work very, very hard, right? And they just can't make ends meet. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the system of we're not supporting them, right? Be it healthcare, education, affordable housing. It's not that the person that works 12 hours a day isn't working hard enough. It's just that they weren't born rich, right? They can't do the things that Musk and Trump can do. So, for example, so we use Musk's example. He's born in white, South Africa. He gets his, plane tickets paid for. He can fly to Canada, right? Not many people from South Africa can just easily fly to Canada. It's not that easy. Then he goes to university in the USA. After that, he then starts a company in, Silicon Valley under the dot-com bubble. Asks his parents for money to help him start his company. I'll just ask you guys this: can you ask your parents just to, hey, mom, dad, give me some money. I need to start a company in the dot-com bubble. Help me out with plane tickets, please. Right? A lot of people can't do that. The same way that Trump is like, hey, dad, I want to start some real estate. Give me $1 million loan. Not everyone can do that. And for whatever reason, the people who follow the Trumps and the Musks, they have this crazy fantasy that they're going to be billionaires just like them. And wow, they must be really smart because they had parents that were rich. And I have to put this in this really simple terms because, just because that you're not rich doesn't mean you're not working hard. There's a lot of people out there that work very, very hard out there, right? And you haven't reached those levels because the system is working against you. These kind of people, the Trumps and the Musks, they want to keep the population poor. They want to keep the population uneducated, and they want to keep you unhealthy. And so they're not willing to invest money into these kind of things because they don't care about you. They care about winners and losers, right? And if you keep the system that way, if you're born rich and you got the connections, you're going to be a winner because that's basically you won the parents' lottery. And if you're not, well, tough luck. And then they distract you by, okay, well, guys, the real problem is not that, you're uneducated and poor and unhealthy. The real problem is oh, well, it's the gay people and the trans people and the dark people. Oh, they're out to get you, right? And it's this kind of stuff that is frankly ridiculous. And then they go on TV and they say, okay, to solve your problems, we're going to rename the Gulf of Mexico and call it Gulf of America. We're going to spend your tax dollars printing all these maps and stuff like that. And oh, by the way, one of our friends is, selling said maps and books or whatever to have that new naming. They're talking about taking over Greenland or whatever. And so that'll benefit Musk. He'll get rich off of that stuff. Like, none of these things benefit you. They don't really have a plan to benefit regular people. And that's why I said, hey, are we going back to third world country kind of stuff? But basically, I'm implying that the divide between rich and poor will get bigger. I know sometimes I get kind of upset when we talk about these kind of issues, but it's just sad to see. I knew it would be bad with Trump going into office with Musk. I knew it, but I didn't know it would be this bad, that we would be talking about, messing with maps and this kind of rhetoric is we laugh about it because it's so stupid, right? But it is dangerous rhetoric because if enough people believe this kind of stuff, if they start saying, hey, wow, that Brazil, back in these fake history books that we have, America used to own Brazil, or what about Argentina? We used to own Argentina, or what about UK? We used to own UK, right? And like, they'll come with all these crazy examples of why we need to expand. And again, it's not really about making your life better. It's making about their lives better. And that's essentially, it's so obvious every day because you can see it. You can see it in their words when they say stuff like, oh, the media's always attacking me. Oh, it's all about me. Like that's how they talk. And people like go along with it. And it's like, oh, why is the media so mean to Trump? I'm going to vote for Trump. and I'll try to put it in the simplest terms. The easiest way for someone to know if they care about you, right, is if they've been in your shoes, if they talk about things that matter to you. And I think it's true, guys. I think healthcare, right? Things are really expensive. I think that should matter to regular people. I think it matters, say, if your mom or dad is sick, you care about these kind of things. Education, you want your kids to have a good job, right? These kind of things. I get that. I totally get it, right? You're like, why are the price of houses so expensive, right? I get that. But they're off talking about renaming maps and taking over Greenland. So it's pretty obvious that they don't care about you at all. It's obvious. They say it out loud, like every day. And that's why we talk about it. So anyway, I just had to get some things off my chest. Want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you in the next video.